welcome to this podcast. I'm Collie, a paralegal at Whitehead Moncton.
And I'm Bekka Fuszard, a senior solicitor. Ella and I work in the tax and estate planning team, and today we're going to talk about the new deputyship application process, which has been introduced by the Court of Protection. But before we do that, let's discuss some of the basics about what the Court of Protection is, what lasting powers of attorney are, and what is deputyship.
The first thing we should explain is what the Court of Protection is. The Court of Protection, known as COP for short, makes decisions on financial or welfare matters for people who cannot make decisions at the time they need to be made. A common misconception is that spouses, or so-called next of kin, can step in and make decisions for someone who has lost capacity, but this isn't the case at all. This can be an additional stress in an already traumatic time when a loved one lacks the mental capacity to make their own decisions. It will be difficult or impossible to deal with any assets in the name of the person who lacks capacity, as the authorities will only deal with that person directly.
In an ideal world, the person who now lacks capacity will have already made lasting powers of attorney for health and welfare and also property and finances. And in those documents, they'd have chosen people that they trust and have the right skills and qualities to step into their shoes and make decisions and manage their affairs as if they were them, as and when the need arises. But for someone who's not made lasting powers of attorney and then has lost capacity...
So this is when a deputyship application is made so that an order can be issued by the Court of Protection to appoint someone to make decisions on behalf of the person who's lost the capacity. A deputyship order is the only legal option to be authorised to make decisions for somebody who does not have capacity to make a lasting power of attorney or to make some or all decisions for themselves on an ongoing basis. The most common deputyship order is one which appoints a deputy to make property and financial affairs decisions on behalf of an individual. It is also possible for the court to make a deputyship order concerning an individual's health and welfare, but this is not so common. The court also sometimes makes one-off decisions on matters.
So what happens once they have that Court of Protection order?
So once the order's been issued, the deputy is given general authority to take control of the individual's property and finances in order to maintain and provide for the needs of the individual for whom they have been appointed.
Does that mean they can't make any decisions for themselves anymore? Or is it that they can still make some decisions for themselves, maybe simple matters like buying milk from the local shop?
Yeah, so any simple decisions that they can make for themselves, they will continue to do so. But if they require help with more complex decisions, that's when the deputy would step in. Any action that's taken by the deputy has to be in the best interest of that individual. And the deputy is also required to account to the court for their dealings on an annual basis to ensure that they've acted within their powers and they've acted appropriately. As you can imagine, in a situation where deputyship is required, it is often required quickly as decisions need to be made. There might be bills piling up requiring payment, for example, but due to the complex nature of the postal application process and delays at the Court of Protection, this was taking about 9 to 12 months to complete. The process involved making an application to the court, who would then issue the application back. At this point, the notices need to be served on relevant parties. Following a waiting period, the application was then considered by the court and orders were then issued.
So you said there's some new rules which have changed the application process. Can you tell me a bit more about that, Ella?
Yeah, so following a successful trial period, a new procedure for deputyship applications came into force in January of 2023 with an online portal. The changes mean that new applicants are required to notify the person to whom the application relates, and usually 3 people who know the person affected by the application, before they submit that application to the Court of Protection.
Okay, so previously these notices were given after the court had issued the application, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Whereas now the applicant notifies everybody and must not file the application with the Court of Protection until they've received acknowledgement from all those notified, or at the end of a 14-day waiting period after the last notification was sent. The applicant can then send their application to the court via the online portal with the returned acknowledgements of notification, regardless of whether they've received all of those acknowledgements.
That sounds much more efficient. Has it been much quicker so far?
It's too soon to tell at the moment how much more efficient the process will be, but it is anticipated to take between 1 and 3 months, which is a vast improvement on the 9 to 12 months we were looking at previously.
That all sounds brilliant. Even with this new process in place, an application to the Court of Protection is still going to be more emotional, time-consuming and expensive compared to making lasting powers of attorney though, isn't it? It also means that it's the court deciding who makes the decisions rather than the individual themselves.
Exactly. So for this reason, we recommend that you make lasting powers of attorney so you can choose your attorneys who would step in the event that you're not able to make your own decisions. But we do understand that sometimes circumstances mean that the only option is to make an application to the Court of Protection for deputyship.
Either way, Whitehead Moncton are able to assist you. If you would like to discuss lasting powers of attorney or deputyships, or would like further information on anything, please don't hesitate to get in touch with us at Whitehead Moncton.